Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat, our TNA episode. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, the Warlord.
Thanks, Berserker. Gary Rhodes, everybody.
And the first thing, before we talk about the TNA Impact show, we want to talk about something that happened this week, or actually last week. There is a new NWA World Heavyweight Champion. His name is the Tokyo Monster Kahagas.
Oh.
Really good guy, nice guy. I've had the opportunity to meet him a few times. Good wrestler, good worker, someone that I think can help bring prestige back to the title. Not that Adam Pearce and Colt Cabana did bad with it, but Kahagas is a guy that deserves a pop, and I'm glad to see someone that's got an NWA title that respects the tradition.
Yeah.
And then going right into the show, the first thing of the night was...
Well, we go right into the show, and it starts with the Aces and Eights. And Luke Gallows is now known as Doc. What's that stand for?
I don't know, they didn't say it enough on the show.
Oh, they said about 25 fucking times. Director of Chaos.
Yeah. It became kind of a running joke. Every time they'd say Doc, Director of Chaos. Doc, Director of Chaos.
Either beating the name into the ground. I thought it was kind of cool at first if they would have just kept it like one time. Yeah. It was like kind of like when WWE had Sid and Jim Ross and them were trying to change it to Suddenly I'm Dominant, which was good but never really went nowhere.
Yeah, but, it was a nice little opener. They basically tell him he needs to make an impact tonight, or he's not in Aces and Eights. And speaking of impact, right off the bat, the first match of the night was AJ Styles versus Bobby Roode, a pay-per-view quality main event.
Oh yes, and these two, when they work together, they're also opponents for each other, and they were also as a faction when they were
Fortune.
Yeah,
and these two guys are really good. Two of the upper tier guys in TNA, in my opinion. Now, the next thing we had was I'm sorry, I'm skipping over the finish of the match. James Storm was on commentary, comes down, basically distracts AJ Styles, and Roode gets the win.
Yeah. The next thing that happened tonight was Joseph Park and the Hogan segment happened in the ring. Joseph Park's wanting to make a challenge to Ace and Ace for the pay-per-view. Bully Ray comes down and tells Hogan that Parks is a good guy, and he deserves it. He deserves it. Yes, he deserves revenge on what happened to him.
Exactly. It was a nice little segment. I think it drug out a little bit longer than it should have, but eventually we find out later when they show the match previews that it's going to be Doc, which is...
Director of...
Canned Goods.
Exactly, for the Storm. James Storm?
Speaking of the Storm, before we talk about that, TNA released a shirt that... It's a $20 shirt, $19.99. If you go to ImpactWrestling.com, I'm sure they have a link on there. But all the proceeds go to help relief funds for the people that were affected by Hurricane Sandy last week. It's a great cause. Hopefully, a lot of people go and buy the shirt, or even if you don't want to buy the shirt, just contribute to the cause.
Yeah.
But
it was a harsh thing, and I know you're from the Northeast, just as I am. And, a lot of our families and friends up north were affected by this.
Well, a lot of our fans, guys like Paul and Lou over at the Deadly Sins, I knew lost power. A couple of our other friends have said stuff. Warren from Row Web Designs, I know he lost power for a while. We had another fan from New Jersey, his name's slipping my mind, for Choppy 84 was out of power. And a lot of people, a lot of relatives. Luckily, none of my relatives got directly affected, but I have a lot of friends that did. And it's a good cause, so please buy the shirt or at least contribute to help these guys out. It's taken, 7 years to get New Orleans back from Katrina, and they're not all the way back yet, and this is just as bad.
Oh, yeah.
But coming off of that, back to lightheartedness.
Yes. Well, I mentioned Hogan, and that starts our Hogan count. And what did our Hogan count end up at by the end of the show, George?
4 Thunder Lips.
Yes, folks, he has his own thing. Then we go back from we have Storm in the back and AJ have their little backstage
little argument
Yeah,
kind of
you
thing.
blame me, I blame you kind of bullshit. It was okay, you know.
Just to build the pay-per-view event, which brings us to the question of the week from last week. The three-way match, James Storm versus AJ Styles versus Bobby Roode. Who do you think is going to win the three-way? Now, we got an answer from one of our friends, Paul, over from the Deadly Sins. Speaking of Paul, he said, in the triple threat, I think AJ gets the win and Roode takes a pin. The stipulation being the guy that takes a pin can't challenge for the title until next October. So, that's Paul's opinion on what it is. What do you think, GR?
I'm going to reverse the decision. And I'm going to go with AJ.
You're going to reverse it?
I'm going to reverse it, sucker. I think AJ's going to take the pin. Roode is going to go over either Roode or Storm, one of the two, because really the only thing that matters is the guy that gets pinned is the guy that don't get a shot for till October, 11 months. AJ don't need the belt. He's the face of the company. They need to build some more faces of the company up, you know. And I know Storm wants to be the face of the company, but Roode really took over the whole almost year run he had as the champion. And I think they had the best show quality when he was a champion. I think they ran better numbers when he was their champion. So he's odds-on favorite, the guy I think is going to get over.
And my opinion on it is, I think Roode's going to be the one to take the pin just because of what you said. He had the belt for almost a year, so him not having the belt for a little while isn't going to hurt him too bad. I do think they want to bring AJ back into the main event picture. However, I think James Storm is the guy that has been built up for the last 5-6 months, the Bound for Glory series, all that stuff, as being the guy coming up next. And he actually, in my opinion, he should have been the guy that took the belt from Aries instead of Jeff Hardy, was James Storm, because that's who it's been built for. And I think James gets a win, Roode takes a pin, AJ's on the outside looking in. But AJ will still be in the world title picture, because I think it's been too long since AJ's been in the world title picture.
And another thing is, too, I think we both mentioned it, is that AJ's really not taking any time off of the length of time he's been with the company.
Right.
It might be good for him to take a little bit of time off, a couple months away. And probably people forget the storyline, because you know how TNA goes. And he'll probably get a world title in 6 months anyways.
Which leads us to the question of our week for next week. Now, we're shooting this show on Thursday night. The pay-per-view turning point is Sunday. The question is going to be, we're assuming that if you're watching our show, you're going to watch the pay-per-view. So if you watch the pay-per-view, how would you rate it on a 5-star rating system? Let us know what you think of the Turning Point pay-per-view, 1 to 5 stars. Come back on Sunday night, Monday, whenever you want to do it. Come and leave your comment. Tell us what you think. Put it in. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. Put it down where?
Down there.
Down in the comments. Was that a Matt Morgan stutter you just threw in there for him?
No, that was actually the Matt Morgan speech. Down there.
No, you stuttered like you were Bubba Ray Dudley.
No, I didn't stutter. We will watch it later on. I didn't stutter.
Anyway, but let us know what you think. How you would rate it. We'll tell you what we think next week on our review for TNA. And then coming back to the show, we had a match that I thought was an oddly booked match. We had ODB versus Tara and Jesse.
Jesse, wasn't he on Big Brother?
No, he was the Doc.
He was the director of Chaos on Big Brother. That's who he was. I mean, just like the director of Chaos thing we mentioned earlier, at least they're not doing it as bad as they were. Maybe CBS got on their ass about it or something.
Yeah.
But, the whole Jesse from Big Brother. Tired of hearing that shit, too.
Here's the problem I have with the match. ODB gets a clean win over the Divas Knockouts champion, and a male wrestler, which either one should be a big win. A win over a male wrestler when you're a female is big, and a win over the Divas champion should be big. So basically, you're saying that your Divas champion isn't even good enough to win the title with her, or to beat ODB with her boyfriend.
And one thing I want to add to this match, and just 2 seconds of your time, is, okay, you got this Jesse guy from Big Brother. A mediocre guy on a third-rate talk show or reality show, whatever the hell it is.
Well, Big Brother gets decent ratings.
Yeah, but he's just mediocre. I've never heard of the guy. I've never watched an episode of Big Brother.
It's like when they had Johnny Fairplay a couple years back.
Yeah, but I don't know. Anyways, you're putting this guy in a ring when you got guys that are on his gut check that have been around forever and a day dying to be on television, 10 times better than this guy, and they're not getting anywhere because this guy has mediocre celebrity.
Buzz.
Sorry.
He's got a little bit of a buzz. He's been on TMZ. I mean,
I just don't see it, dude.
I don't either. I'm not a fan of Big Brother. If you guys are, let us know how big he was on the show. I've never watched the show personally, but I know it does do big ratings. I mean, could he be the next Miz? Maybe. Most likely, he's going to be someone that's trying to cash in on his celebrity.
Or lack thereof. Well, anyways, on to the next match. It was Sting and Kurt Angle versus Devon and Doc, director of Candy Corn.
That would be Doc Cuck.
Doc Cuck? Whatever. It's terrible. Anyways, I like Doc. Not the character, but I like Luke Gallows. I think he's an awesome performer. Like I was telling you, he looks like he's in the best shape he's been in years since he's left WWE.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
It
plus
looks like he slimmed down and added some muscle to his frame. Took away some bulk and probably been working out a lot more than he was in WWE. Now, the match wasn't nothing spectacular. It was more the angle after the match when some more aces and eights run down and help them clear the ring. And then Doc, the director of...
Cabbage.
Cabbage?
Yeah, we'll try that one out.
What about the director of Champagne?
How about this? Just leave your ideas. He could be the director of on the bottom. It'd be kind of interesting to see. He'll probably be director of Cock or something. But anyway, no one of the people that watch this.
The director of Cornrows grabs the hammer and starts beating the crap out of Sting with the hammer, hitting him in both hands, hitting him in the head, hitting him in the back. Basically leaving Sting getting carried out of the ring, which leaves us to as if Sting is going to be able to face Devon at the pay-per-view.
And you know that, and that's what gets you is, you know, it's right before the pay-per-view. They never even talked about this, and I'm not going to talk about the rest of the show. But the rest of the show, they have really didn't even mention the after the attack except for here and there. You know, they really didn't sell the attack at all.
No.
The director of Cream Corn. I'm sorry, I'm stuck on corn.
Why is it always two C's?
Ah,
Director of Cheerios.
good one. Candy Apples.
Director of Cold Cuts.
Director of Cold Cuts. Well, that's two C's too. Anyways,
No.
it's kind of like, okay, well, he's got the shit kicked out.
Chevrolets.
True. You got the guy, he's beat down and everything like that, and you don't even mention the fact, except for a few minute
A
times.
Hulk Hogan segment.
Exactly.
So we never get an update whether he could go on Sunday or not.
What they should have closed the show with was saying we'll find out and give some information if Sting's gonna be able to make the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
They didn't do nothing.
Nope, they sure didn't. But it was a decent beatdown. I'm guessing after that, the director of Coolio
Fantastic Voyage
makes the aces and eights. He's proven himself. And speaking about proving himself, our next segment was the gut check. Go ahead.
Gut check. Sucker.
Was that if Brother Love and Booker T had a kid together? But anyway,
Watch it.
And then we get Christian York, who had a decent showing last week. If you watched our show last week, we were high on him. We thought he should have got the contract. Then he was the first guy
To get 2 yeses in a row.
there was a unanimous decision. I mean, the kid has a good look to him. He has good size. He's tremendous in the ring. And he's a veteran presence, which I think can help some of the younger kids they got there as well.
Well, the X Division has been floundering. And that's someone right there that can bring the X Division back up. And that's what they need. And you got, like you said, he has a lot of experience. He's a great build.
Yeah.
He's a decent talker. I wouldn't say he's the best or anything like that, but I wouldn't say he's shit. And that's what you need, is you need someone like that to teach these younger kids to keep moving. Will they give him the X Division title anytime soon? Maybe, maybe not. But that's what they need right now, since Kaz, Daniels, AJ, Joe, all the big names in the X Division are out of it.
Yeah, right now the X Division title champion is RVD. I think he's going against Joey Ryan, who's another newcomer in the division. The thing I don't like is they don't have guys. They've got guys on their show like Dakota Darso and Kenny King, who we haven't seen in a couple months, who are good for the X Division, but they're not on the TV. Sanjay Dutt.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's just a little bit of bitching on my part.
It goes on to the main event. Chavo, Hernandez, and Joe versus Magnus, Kaz, and Daniels. Thought it was an awesome match. For what you had in it, you had 4 of them were great workers. Chavo is Hernandez is
Yeah, and it was. I'm a huge Joe fan, and like you said during the match, the right guys went over, the heels went over, Magnus pinned Joe, which makes me believe that Joe's going to get the win at the pay-per-view to get his payback on him. In my opinion, that's just
I don't know. I mean, Joe don't need the belt. Magnus needs the belt. Joe needs to be in the world title picture. I think he's going to build Magnus up, and then he's going to go into the world title picture. Kaz and Daniels are awesome together, and the best thing that could happen to Magnus was being tagged with them, because whatever he couldn't do, they covered for.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot the kid can't do, but it's good when you got someone that's still kind of green and you're working with them.
Exactly, and it ended up being pretty decent.
All right. And that ends up with the Aries promo at the end of the night.
Speaking of green, Matt Hardy, or not Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, I hear he's moving to Colorado.
Oh. Who gives a shit? Anyways, Hogan earlier in one of the Hogan counts, probably 2 or 3 or whatever it was.
Hogan Thunderlips count number 2.
There it goes. Told Aries that he had to give Hardy back the belt or he was going to be stripped of his title match. Bullshit, boring, whatever. So Aries calls out Hardy, says, if you want this belt, you have to get it your damn self and come out here like a man. And they had a little melee, and I thought it was pretty cool.
Pretty decent. At the end of it, Hardy standing on top of the ladder, doing a glamour shot, and they have the camera panned up so you just see Hardy standing, and you see Hardy get leveled from the ladder, but you don't see what Aries did till the replay, and he took a nasty bump from the ladder. Aries just jerked the ladder out from behind, under him. Pushed
it, then pulled it back. It was good. Yeah. And like I said, I kind of, this match here kind of worries me. Is it going to be a spot fest for Hardy, or is Aries going to be Shawn Michaels in WrestleMania 10? This match could actually make Aries, if you watch it, it makes me want to watch the pay-per-view just to see if Aries
will go over.
Exactly. Even if Aries don't have to go over, really. I mean, to get bigger. But would it work for the company? Yes. But I think he should go over.
I think he should. I think they shouldn't have took the belt off him. Like I said, the guy that if they were going to give the belt to anybody other than Aries, they should have gave it to James Storm, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And that's just based on what they're building to. If it's up to me, I mean, I put a guy like Samoa Joe in the championship. But the way it's been built up to be James Storm's championship, basically. And I don't see why he's not in that picture. Hopefully, after the 3-way match, he will be the guy that moves on to bigger and better things.
I hope so. I'm really high on Storm too. Like I said, I think that's the match to watch for. Either it's going to stink the show up, or it's going to make it.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Hardy fan, but if Hardy does a good effort on it, I'd be okay if he won.
I mean, when Hardy is properly motivated, he could throw decent matches out there.
But if he's hanging on to Colorado before he shows up at the pay-per-view, who knows?
I mean, the last match, Aries versus Hardy, was a damn good match. The only thing I didn't like was the finish. But Hardy, like I said, when Hardy's motivated, he can be a guy that puts on a 4-star match.
I just hope to see that at the pay-per-view.
Yeah. But, basically, I mean, that's really all I got. Do you have anything else you need to add to the show?
No.
Just remember if you want to get that t-shirt to help our friends up in the Northeast, and hopefully you got some friends and family up there. If you're some of the people that are suffering up there, hopefully you get some of the funds from this. I think it's a great cause. I'm thinking about buying the shirt myself, and I think it'd be a great deal. Go to TNA, or I think it's ImpactWrestling.com is their website. I'm sure they'll have a link there where you can buy the shirt. It's only $20, guys. So, I mean, take the $20. Don't buy a 12-pack of Coors Light this week. Buy the t-shirt. Help some of our friends up in the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, that's all I got to say about the show. You got anything else you need to add?
That's it.
My name's George Coles.
I'm Gary Rhodes.
This has been our Heel Heat TNA show.